Hello, welcome to episode 3 of Unsanctioned Wrestling. I've got loads of questions here that people have sent in, mainly on Facebook. I've decided to do half of them now and half of them on another episode because there's just so many. But thanks to everyone who sent in a question because obviously it makes it a lot easier to do this. So thanks a lot and hope you enjoy it. So the first question is from an old school friend, Ant Hodgkiss. This was on Facebook, and the question is, how do you feel about Mick Foley's change of career? And in a related topic, what do you honestly think Mr. Socko actually tastes like? So these are pretty interesting questions. As far as Mick Foley's change of career, I don't really know a lot about it because I haven't got to go to one of his comedy shows or anything. There was one in Birmingham recently, but it was like £17 or something stupid like that, so that was a bit too much even for me to pay to see Mick Foley. I mean, all I've really seen is a little bit on the DVD, and you'd think that they'd want to put like a really good funny part on the DVD so that you'd think he was like a good comic, and the bit they put on there just died. It was just awful and not funny at all, so that doesn't really bode well. I probably think he should just ditch that and stick to wrestling, but you know, good luck to him. And Mr. Socko, I don't know exactly, I'm pretty sure it was a different brand new clean sock from the shop every time, I think, and they drew the face on the night. I don't think it was, I hope it's not the same one over and over again because that's pretty dirty, so it would taste like crusty and not very nice. But yeah, next question comes from Daniel Brooks, also on Facebook. The question is, do you think I could pull off a similar persona to Dustin Rhodes' infamous Goldust? Now, I don't know if anyone can really pull off a persona as infamous as Goldust. I mean, it would definitely be worth a try. When I went to see Raw live a couple of years ago, or maybe not even a couple of years ago, there was a guy there in full-on Goldust costume, head to toe, dressed like Goldust. And that was pretty cool. I think he was pulling it off, but I don't know. I don't know if you've got the same height and build kind of deal as Goldust. He's a pretty hench legend there, so. But thanks for that. Next question is from Daniel Paige. This was actually in person. Again, this is my flatmate. The only person who donates questions in person. And the question is, can we expect to see Paige on Raw anytime soon? And is she a sign that WWE will be taking the women's division more seriously in the future? I do think that Paige is going to be on Raw before the end of the year. I mean, she's one of the top 3 divas on NXT. Probably the most over one with the crowd, I would think. And I know she's a little bit edgy compared to Raw's usual kind of deal, but I think she'd be okay. So hopefully, we'll be seeing her on Raw. But as far as the women's division in general, I think that we're seeing a Divas title match at the pay-per-view for the first time in like forever. After the whole thing on Raw with the Secret Admirer thing, so it's going to be Caitlyn and AJ for the Divas title. That's a positive. And the whole Stephanie McMahon announcement on NXT, and the amount of effort they put into the Divas division on NXT kind of shows that maybe they're looking to develop it a bit there and kind of play with the idea and then introduce it to Raw and SmackDown. I hope so. I really hope that it that translates to actual important TV like Raw, because it does work really well in NXT, and I think the Divas could play an important part, but yeah, at the moment they're just a joke. Next question comes from Simon Kitchen on Facebook, and the question is, who invented the figure 4? So I take it this obviously means the figure 4 leg lock. I don't know exactly who invented the figure 4 leg lock. I know that Ric Flair made it famous, I guess, and since then it's been replicated by a number of people, and at the moment the Miz is using it on Raw every week, which is not really going down, but I know that Ric Flair made the move famous. The next questions, there's 2 of them, are from Steve Brewer on Facebook. The first one is, why aren't there any openly gay wrestlers? Now, if you were talking to pretty much all of my friends, they'd probably tell you that all wrestlers are gay. But in fact, the only openly gay wrestler I know of is Chris Kanyon, who you may remember from WCW. But other than that, I don't know of any. I guess it's kind of like football. I don't really know why. I don't know what the deal is. I think it's one of those things that you're going to be working a job where you're like handling men and stuff. It's a bit like, I suppose a lot of men would be a bit funny about kind of locking up with a gay guy. So yeah, there aren't that many openly gay wrestlers. I mean, there's been gay gimmicks, which are pretty funny. I mean, Goldust was like the most obvious gay gimmick, and I think Rico was I don't know if they openly admitted that he was gay, but I think that's kind of what they were going for. But yeah, I don't know. The second question from Steve on this episode, because I got a loads and I'll answer all the other questions on the other episode, is when will Daniel Bryan become a major singles wrestling sensation? I think that Daniel Bryan's already waiting. Well, he already is the major single wrestling sensation in the eyes of the fans, and he's just completely over and entertaining in the ring. Everything about him right now is just completely perfect for the main event picture. I think it's just a matter of time before they pull the trigger on him. I don't really know exactly what they're going to be doing with him. I do kind of think that even though he's so over and he's kind of he's a face because of the fans, he still kind of acts like a prick to Kane all the time, and just kind of, he's not really a nice guy. Like, he doesn't really act like a face. And I think it's because they're going to do a program with him and John Cena for the title, maybe, so they can't have him being too much of a face, like too much of a good guy, because it's just going to be a total clash. At least this way he can be really over with the fans, and Cena will be over with his fans. And there won't be a heel in the mix. Well, Daniel Bryan will just be kind of an unsavoury character. Like, he won't be like a massive heel, but he won't be your traditional babyface. But I think, yeah, it's only a matter of time before he becomes a major sensation. They've just got to tie up all these loose ends that are going on. They can't fuck up this one, I wouldn't have thought. And now the last two questions, possibly the two most interesting, both from Ashley Lindop on Facebook. And the first question is, who do you think would win in a Blue Room triple threat match? Big E Langston, Cody Lane, or The Pirate? So, this question refers to quite an interesting adult scene that involved Cody Lane and a man who's become famously known as The Pirate. And I think that if these two and Big E Langston were to get into some kind of match, I think that The Pirate and Big E Langston would unite against Cody, I think, and it would be a kind of double team scenario. And then I think that they'd probably just both pin her and then do the whole 5 count thing that Langston does on NXT. I think that's what would happen. And the final question now is, if you were to put together the worst pay-per-view ever and the best pay-per-view ever, what would be the main events? And this is really cool. And as I've said before, I don't edit anything or look at the questions beforehand, really. Like, I just copy and paste them. I know what they are, but I don't really think about them. It's just, I'm just going to try and go for it right now. So, worst pay-per-view main event ever would be, well, for a start, it would be a singles match, because then you've only got 2 people in there, and it's, there's not that much crazy stuff can go on. So I only need to pick 2 people who just literally make me want to cry. So it would probably be Great Khali in a singles match in the main event against John Laurinaitis. I think I'd have John Laurinaitis versus the Great Khali in a singles match for the US title. That would be the main event of the worst pay-per-view ever. And the main event of the best pay-per-view ever would be a 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans between CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That would be my best pay-per-view ever. That's basically what I want to happen. If that happens next year, then the best pay-per-view main event ever will actually happen next year. The best you could ever really hope for. But I'd just make it a 60-man Iron Man. And if I could do it in my fantasy world, it would be at a time when Austin was at his peak and before his neck injury and knee injuries and stuff, and so that he wasn't just brawling. He could be like, especially now, if they do the match now, I mean, Punk's going to have to carry him along. He's going to be very old and blah, blah, blah. But it'll still be really good. It'll still be amazing regardless. But yeah, best match ever would be Punk Austin in their prime. 60-minute Iron Man, WrestleMania main event. Boom. So that's that. I'm going to do episode 4 with a special guest who many of you will know as Fozzy, I'm going to kind of weigh in on some of the questions, and we're just going to have a little discussion between us and you guys, and then keep getting your questions coming in. If you're enjoying, watching this stuff, which is you're a bit weird if you are, because it's a bit, I'm just sitting here just chatting on that about wrestling, and it's pretty late. You should probably be doing something else. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and check out the next episode. Send the questions in on Facebook, the same people. And if you're watching this and you don't actually know you're not actually my friend or someone I went to school with, then post a comment on YouTube and I'll answer your question about anything, no matter how stupid. Literally, if the question is, are all wrestlers gay, or are you gay if you like wrestling, I'll just answer. So don't worry about it. Any question, get it in. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.